Are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're discussing the most vital skills that you can have as a man, no matter when in your life it is. This most important skill will change everything for you, and it takes time to develop it, but at some point you have to. The skill is, how fast do you bounce back from a letdown, from a rejection, from a failure? How fast do you bounce back? Do you have this skill? And if not, it is time for you to learn this skill. The most important aspect of having joy, bliss, and happiness is you having a fantastic attitude at all times, meaning that you're able to see the positive, the good, the excitement in any situation. I've said in the past that we have to go through hell to get to heaven. But even better than that is being able to turn any hell into heaven. Can you develop the skill of making any hell into heaven? Because if you have that skill, that means that you're getting to the point where you can choose to have joy, bliss, and happiness independent of circumstances. This is a tough skill to develop. But once you do develop it, which is possible, and it can be done in a lifetime, it can be done maybe in a few months' time, maybe even a few years, you will substantially improve your life quality by doing that. So let's bring it back down to this most vital skill. How fast do you bounce back from a failure, a letdown, or a rejection? Some people are depressed. Now, it is what it is. They have something that they're struggling with. They have a problem that they think that they cannot overcome. They have a problem that there is no solution to. And because there's no solution, they're still confused. And as a result, they enter into a deep, dark depression. Now, I recognize that some people have that. And I feel bad for them. I feel sorry for them that they have that. But you can bounce back. The only thing that needs to change is your mindset. The reality of what's going on inside of the four walls, I guess, of your own brain. If you're able to change the way you think, you'll be able to change the way you look at the world. It's the other way around, actually. If you manage to change the way you look at the world, that is changing the way you think. If you are depressed, if you are struggling, if you are lonely, whatever the case may be, how fast does it take for you to bounce back from it and suddenly become positive and excited about life again? Does it take you a year? Does it take you 2 months? Does it take you 2 weeks? Does it take you 2 days or 2 minutes? Bad things are going to happen to all of us. You just gotta face it. Why? Why do bad things happen to good people? It's so that you can learn the lessons that you must learn. The more fired up you are about any circumstance, now obviously you're not supposed to dance on other people's graves. You know what I'm saying. But the more fired up you can be about any circumstance and see the positive in every single event. It's not that you're Pollyanna and that you're burying your hand under the ground and like you don't want to look at the realities of life. No, you face realities and you solve the problems that come about. You face them head on. But you also know that there is a solution. You know that you can tackle this, that you will develop the power to tackle this. And if you don't, if it becomes a complete, utter failure, fantastic. Because now you have a case study. Now you've If you're able to go introspective and look at the situation and how you handled it, or how other people handled it, or what happened, you've now found a mess. Do you know what's awesome about messes? In hindsight, you got hindsight 2020. If I would have done this instead, I could have prevented this. If I understood how that person worked and that person worked, I could have prevented this. The better you become at preventing crap from happening, the more masculine you're becoming. It's all about prevention. Can you prevent bad things from happening? But if you can't, then you simply have to observe. Absorb all the things that are happening. Look. Listen. Check every situation out. Understand how people are responding to the situation. And observe how you're responding to the situation. This is learning. Without mistakes, without failure, you're not going to learn anything. Success is basically keeping us stupid. Once you're past a certain age, you want to go through as much failure as possible. Right? As long as it doesn't kill you. As long as it doesn't keep you in a depression for years and makes you suicidal, right? We want to try to avoid that much problem stacking. Don't get to that point. But take on problems, responsibilities that you can and are able to solve. Say yes to responsibility. Don't get married. Okay? That's a huge responsibility. Don't get kids before a certain time. And if you want to check out my videos on that, I have a video called 100 Reasons Why Not to Get Married. Okay? Go check it out. It's important. That's a responsibility. There's another way of taking on the responsibility of a family, but that's for another video. I want to help you guys to understand the power of being able to bounce back, and to bounce back fast. And I want you to learn that skill. So, I'm going to give you 3 small tips for how you can bounce back fast in simple terms. 1, look at the situation and try to figure out, could I have prevented this? If you could not, then things were beyond your control. This was just above your pay grade. This was just something that you haven't mastered it yet. So you can actually pat yourself on the back and say, you know what? This wasn't on me. I did my best, and that's all I could do. Right? If you know you've done your best, you can be happy with your performance. And you should be happy with your performance. This allows you to get back, to bounce back from the failure, from the mistakes, from the rejection, from the letdown. Because it wasn't you. Right? Now you are moving in the right direction. You're progressing because you now have experience. Success comes from experience. Experience comes from good judgment. Well, actually, success comes from good judgment. Good judgment comes from experience. Experience comes from bad judgment. Right? This is Tony Robbins' quote. Okay, so that was tip number 1. Tip number 2 is make a commitment that this will never ever happen again. Make a commitment that this will never ever happen again. Now that you've made that decision, if you're an integral man who has integrity, then you will learn everything that you can about that experience, write it down, and say, you know what? I'm going to journal this because this is never, ever going to happen to me again. Not only is it not going to happen to me, but I'm going to make sure that it doesn't happen to other people. Suddenly your mess became your message. This is you bouncing back from a failure, a rejection, or a letdown, so that other people don't have to suffer the way that you suffered. Suddenly your suffering becomes worthy or worthwhile or a positive thing to many, many people. If you had not gone through that failure, rejection, and letdown, then you would not be able to teach other people how to prevent that, or how to solve it, or how to look at the situation differently. Now you're bouncing back fast. And the third one, can I come up with the third one? Simply understand that this is a journey. That's just a great tip. It's a journey of lots and lots of failures towards a massive, grand, fantastic success in the future. The cool part about it is that all these failures you are going through is you succeeding. There is no such thing as failure. The only failure is you giving up and not failing more. Right? Is you basically becoming scared. There's a story of the crabs. There's some crabs that are like trying to climb up out of a tank, right? And I don't even know if I remember the story. Oh, was it monkeys? I don't know. They've done tons of experiments on different animals, where basically monkeys were trying to climb up to get out of this cage, and they were climbing up a pole. And then every single time they climbed up that pole, in the beginning, they would hose them with really, really cold water whenever they climbed up the pole. And they experienced it. And then over time, they pulled monkeys down. And they kept hosing them, right? But they was trying to protect other monkeys from going up there and getting hosed. Eventually, guess what? The humans stopped hosing the monkeys. But the monkeys kept pulling each other down to not get hosed, and now suddenly it was a culture thing of holding everyone back. Right? Now they were trying to prevent other people from suffering and from having all sorts of... Right? But sometimes that happens too. That we are not allowing more mistakes. Keep making mistakes. Keep failing forward. And you will become a massively huge success. I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.